Okay, so picture this. Your favorite chai stall, right? The one with that kind of rickety table outside.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're feeling all tech savvy, all about the UPI thing. Scamp in, boom, done.
Exactly.
Except this time, it's April 1st, 2025. And the transaction just kind of hangs. The
Well,
chai wallet, he just sighs and points to this hand-painted sign that says cash only.
you're
And you
kidding.
suddenly feel like you've been thrown back in time.
Yeah, like a digital detox, whether you want it or
Exactly.
not.
This is not some April Fool's joke. This could actually happen. And the crazy thing is it all comes down to your phone number.
It's really fascinating, isn't it? This isn't about some random tech glitch or anything like that. There's
Yeah.
a very specific reason why your UPI might suddenly stop working come April 1st, 2025.
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to the National Payments Corporation of India, the NPCI.
Right, the NPCI.
They've issued a directive basically saying if your mobile number, the one linked to your UPI, isn't actively verified with your bank, you could be locked out.
And that's what we're diving into today.
Exactly.
So I want to make sure none of our listeners get caught off guard.
Absolutely.
So we'll break down exactly what's happening and, more importantly, what you need to do about it right now.
Consider this your cheat sheet to navigating this whole thing.
Yeah, a potentially huge change to how we all pay for, well, everything.
Exactly. And at the heart of all of this is your mobile phone number.
Your phone number.
It's kind of like the unsung hero of the whole UPI system.
Yeah, I never really thought about it that way.
It's more than just a way to contact you. It's like your UPI ID. It's how the system knows. It's actually you making a payment. Those OTPs, those transaction alerts, they all go to that number.
Right, it's all linked.
Deeply integrated.
Okay, but here's where things get a little tricky.
Yeah.
Think about a phone number you might have used a while back. Maybe you switched providers, or you have an old phone with a SIM card you haven't used in ages.
Oh, yeah, I've got a drawer full of those.
Right, even though that number's not active for you anymore, it could still be registered with your bank account just sitting there in their records.
Lurking in the database.
And you might think, so what, right, an old number, what's the big deal?
But here's where it gets a bit scary.
Yeah.
Imagine that inactive number gets recycled, the telecom company reassigns it to someone else.
Right, someone new.
Now this new person starts getting messages meant for you, including those crucial OTPs and bank notifications.
Oh, no.
And if your UPI isn't properly secured well...
This is where the real danger is.
Exactly. The person with your old number could potentially get into your accounts.
Access your money.
It's almost like leaving your house key under the doormat, but instead of just your house, this key unlocks your entire financial life.
That's a pretty unsettling thought, and I've heard that this isn't just a hypothetical risk.
Oh, no, it's a real thing.
There are people specifically looking for these reassigned numbers because they know it's a weakness in the system.
It's a vulnerability.
So why is the NPCI cracking down now? Why this directive?
Well, they've definitely seen cases of fraud happening because of this exact issue.
Makes sense.
So this is them trying to be proactive, closing the security gap.
Right.
They're saying, okay, banks, payment apps, you need to delink those inactive or reassigned numbers to make UPI safer for everyone.
And it's not just the NPCI pushing for this. There was a huge legal development earlier this year that adds another layer of urgency.
Oh, yeah. In January, the Supreme Court made a ruling that really changes things.
A game changer.
Absolutely.
So tell me more about that.
Well, the big thing is the court said banks will now be held responsible for any unauthorized or fraudulent online transactions as long as the customer reports them within 3 days.
Within 3 days.
Yeah, that's in line with the RBI's guidelines.
So basically, if someone gets into your UPI because of one of these inactive numbers and you report it quickly, the bank can't just shrug it off.
Exactly.
They're on the hook.
They have a strong financial incentive to fix this vulnerability.
That's huge.
It is with this ruling and the guidance of Justices J.B. Pardiwala and Jay Mahadevan, the pressure is really on for banks to make sure those mobile numbers are accurate and up to date.
Okay, so who needs to be paying extra close attention to all of this? Is this everyone, or are there specific people who should be more concerned?
Great question. Let's think about it like a checklist.
Okay, checklist time.
First, have you ever changed your main phone number but maybe haven't gotten around to updating all your bank details?
It happens all the time.
If you're using a new SIM card every day but your bank still has that old number on file, you're in a risky spot.
Right.
What about those old phones we talked about? That spare one or an old number that's been sitting inactive for months?
Yeah, just gathering dust.
If a number hasn't been used for a long time, the telecom company will probably take it back and reassign it.
And if that number is still linked to your bank account?
That's a big problem.
Okay, what about those who just chucked their old SIM card when they got a new phone? Didn't even think about their bank accounts.
That's another common one.
Yeah.
Just because you got rid of the physical SIM doesn't mean your bank knows.
The link is still there.
Exactly.
So even if you use UPI all the time, you could still be at risk.
Absolutely. If you haven't double-checked the number connected to your UPI is the one you're actually using right now, you need to verify that.
Don't just assume everything's fine.
Right.
Okay, so let's say someone falls into one of these categories and they don't do anything about it before April 1st, 2025. What happens? What's the worst case scenario?
The most likely thing is banks and payment apps like Google Pay, Paytm, they'll start delinking those numbers.
So you might get some warnings.
Yeah, but if you ignore them, your UPI could be completely shut off.
And then you have to go through the whole process of re-registering with your current number.
Exactly.
Can you imagine the hassle trying to buy your morning chai and your UPI is dead, or splitting the bill with friends and suddenly you can't transfer money? Even quick online purchases could become a nightmare.
And it's not just about payments. Think about logging into your online banking. You'll probably need an OTP sent to your registered number. If that's wrong or inactive, you're locked out.
Oh, right.
Same goes for verifying big online purchases. Even calling customer support could be a pain if they need to send a verification code to a number you don't have anymore.
It's like a domino effect.
Exactly.
This reminds me of something that happened to me a while back. I switched phone providers because the signal at my place was awful.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
So I updated everything I could think of, social media contacts, all my online accounts. But in the rush, I totally forgot about my bank.
Oh, no.
A few months later, I'm trying to make this urgent online payment, already stressed out, and the OTP just never came.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
I thought for sure my account had been hacked. I called the bank freaking out, and it turns out they still had my old disconnected number.
Oh.
I had to take time off work, go to the branch, fill out forms. It was a huge headache. And that was before this new NPCI thing.
It really shows you how important it is to keep those details updated.
Yeah, big lesson learned.
So we know the problem, we know the deadline. What's the solution? How do we make sure we're not caught up by this?
Okay, time for an action plan.
Let's do it.
Step 1, how do we even know if the number linked to our UPI is still active?
Easy start by checking if your number actually works. Try calling a friend or family member, or even dial your own number from another phone. If it rings, you're good to go for now.
But just because you can make calls doesn't mean it's properly linked for UPI, right?
Exactly. Step 2 is all about those SMS messages, those OTPs and alerts.
Right, because they're sent by text.
Exactly. So to test this, do a tiny UPI transaction, like send 10 rupees to someone you trust, then immediately check if you get the OTP before the transaction and the confirmation alert after.
If you don't get those,
that's your sign to update your linked number.
Okay, step 3, and this is the big one. How do we actually update our mobile number with our bank? What are our options?
Luckily, there are a bunch of ways to do this for a lot of people. Net banking is the easiest. Just log in to your bank's website or app and look for something like profile settings, services, or update contact details. You should find a place to change your registered mobile number there.
What about directly through those UPI apps like Google Pay or PhonePe?
Some of them might let you manage your number in their settings, but it's always best to update it directly with your bank.
Got it. So the bank's records are the main source.
Exactly.
Okay, for those who prefer doing things the old school way, how do they update their number?
ATMs are a good option. Find the services or other options menu and look for mobile number registration or change mobile number. You'll usually need your debit card and PIN.
And of course, there's always going to the bank in person.
Right. Just take a valid ID with you and someone there will help you out.
So once you've updated your number, is there anything else you should do to make sure everything's working right?
Definitely step 4 is the double check. After updating your number, try another small UPI transaction to that trusted contact again and make sure you're getting those OTPs and alerts on your new number.
Always better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
It's kind of crazy to think that something as basic as a phone number could cause so much potential chaos.
I know, but think about how many UPI transactions happen across India every day.
It's mind-boggling.
We're talking billions every month. A huge part of our economy depends on UPI working smoothly and securely.
So the NPCI's directive might seem like a small inconvenience for us individually, but it's actually a crucial step to combating cybercrime and fraud in the digital payments world.
Exactly.
And this isn't the first time the NPCI has taken steps to protect digital payments, is it?
Nope. Back in 2023, they made a rule to deactivate any UPI IDs that hadn't been used for over a year.
Oh, right.
So this focus on mobile numbers is just a continuation of those efforts.
Keeping everything secure and efficient.
Exactly. And remember, banks and payment apps are supposed to start checking their records every week starting April 1st, 2025, so we need to act now.
That's right. As we're recording this, it's March 21st, 2025, so that gives everyone listening about 10 days to get this sorted.
10 days to avoid a whole lot of potential hassle and make sure your digital payments keep working smoothly.
So here's the bottom line. Everyone, please take a few minutes today to check the mobile number linked to your bank accounts.
If you've changed numbers or have an old inactive one still on file, please update it right away. It might seem like a small thing, but it's a huge step in protecting your digital access and your financial security, and honestly, it's pretty easy to do.
And spread the word, tell your friends, your family, especially those who might not be as tech savvy or might not know about this new rule. A quick heads up could save them a lot of trouble down the line.
It's all about looking out for each other.
At the end of the day, this is about protecting your digital identity in a world that's increasingly online. Your mobile number isn't just for calls anymore. It's the key to so many essential services, including your money.
Absolutely.
It really gets you thinking, doesn't it? We rely on these numbers more and more. Making sure that link is accurate and secure is more important than ever before.
It is.
What other digital accounts and services are tied to your phone number? It's a question we should all be asking ourselves as we navigate this ever-changing digital landscape.
I think have a great place to leave it.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of UPI and mobile numbers.
It's been a pleasure.
Stay safe out there, everyone, and keep those digital lives secure.
And